So for our SOHCAHTOA question, this one we should be able to answer relatively easily as long as we label our triangle appropriately. Okay, so we always know that we're going to use SOHCAHTOA, sine, cosine, and tangent. Now we have the opposite, which is opposite the angle, the hypotenuse, which is our long side opposite the right angle, and the adjacent, which is next to the angle. Now, I've got no information about the adjacent. I'm not trying to find the adjacent. I'm not given the adjacent. So I don't want the, I want to ignore the ones of these that include the adjacent. So I'm not going to use cosine. I'm not going to use tangent. I am going to use the sine. Okay. So I've got the sine opposite. Okay. So I know that the sine of the angle, which in this case is 30, equals the opposite, which is x, divided by the hypotenuse, which is 18. Okay, make this thinner again. To find x, then I need to multiply both sides by 18. Okay, so x is 18 times by sine 30. So x equals 9 centimetres. Okay, 9 centimetres. For that question, that's 2 marks. Okay, question 8. This is one of our direct and inverse proportion questions. Again, I've given you a relatively complicated one to see that you can pick up lots of marks. So, there's quite a bit of information here. I'm told that y is inversely proportional to d squared. When d equals 10, y equals 4. Okay, so let's deal with that first. Okay, we can start with that piece of information. I'm told that y is inversely proportional to d squared. Inversely proportional to d squared. Now that means that y equals k divided by d squared. When d is 10, y is 4. So 4 equals k over 10 squared. This is 100, so it's 4 times 100 equals k, which equals 400. Okay, so I can chuck it back into here, and I've got y is 400 over d squared. Okay, that is 2 marks at least. Now, let's look at the next step. I'm told that d is also directly proportional to x squared. I'm going to find this. So, let me just go. So, d is directly proportional to x squared. When x is 2, d is 24. So I've got d is then, that means that because it's directly proportional, k lots of x squared. Now, d is directly proportional to x squared when d is 24 when x is 2. So 24 times by k lots of 2 squared. Just substituted our values in. 2 squared is 4, so I'm going to do I'll do it over here so I avoid this annoying thing that's there. And that means k is equal to 24 divided by 4. 24 divided by 4 is 6. Okay, so I can shove that back in here. So I've got d equals 6 lots of x squared. Now, that's 4 marks. Okay, out of the 5. Got one last thing I need to do to get this answer correct. One last thing I need to do to get this answer correct. That is, I want to find the formula for y in terms of x. So what it's asking me to get to is a point where I've got something that says y equals something about x. Okay, so y equals in this side something about x. That means I need to link my 2 formulas I've found. The 2 formulas I've found are this and this. Okay. And to do that, I can just substitute one into the other. Okay, so let me show you how to do that. If I know that y equals 400 over d squared, and I also know that d equals 6 lots of x squared, that means that I can say that y is 400 divided by 6x squared squared. Okay? Now, 6x squared squared, that's 400, divided by 6 squared, which is 36. X squared squared, I need to multiply the two because it's a bracket, x to the power of 4. So I've got y equals 400 divided by 36 times x to the power of 4. Now, just before I finish, I want to just double check that I've fully answered the question. So I return to the question. Okay. It says give your answer in the simplest form. Okay, so I need to just double check I have. The challenge for me here is I haven't quite. 436 both share a factor of 4. So I'm going to divide top and bottom by 4. We are 100 divided by 9x to the power of 4. And that is my final answer. Okay, because I've divided top and bottom by 4, because I want to give the simplest answer. So, penultimate question now. Let's have a look. Probability. This one isn't too difficult. So the table shows the probability of taking a random blue cube in the box. It says the number of cubes in the box, red cubes in the box, is the same as the number of yellow cubes in the box. That means straight away that I can say that the probability of red equals the probability of yellow. Okay? Probability of red equals the probability of yellow. Now I can call them both x if I want to, and that means that in total I'm going to have 1 minus 0.2 minus 2x, and that needs to equal 0. Okay? Or I could say that 0.2 plus 2x needs to equal 0. It needs to equal 1. Okay? That, if I add 2x to both sides, I get 2x is equal to 1 minus 0.2, I get 0.8, so x is 0.4. Okay, and I can just put 0.4 in both. I know the probability needs to sum to 1 because there's only blue, red and yellow cubes in there. It says there are 12 blue cubes in the box. Work out the total number of cubes in the box. So, 12 blue cubes means that 12 is 0.2. Okay? I want to find how many in total. Now the total will be represented by 1. So I need to think about what I need to do to 0.2 to get to 1. And I multiply it by 5. So I'm going to multiply this side by 5 as well. And I get 60. Okay? So it's 60 cubes in total. Okay? 60 cubes in total. Another quick way just to show you how to do that, we know that the probability of blue, okay, will equal the number of blue over the total. This is 0.2. The number of blue is 12 divided by total. We know I can swap those, okay? So the calculation I'm doing is 12 divided by 0.2, which also gives me 60, okay? So this is an alternative method, okay? But ratio, I think, makes it much easier to do. So 60 is the answer for that one. Right, last question. For this one, I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger because it will help us. An angles question. Okay, an angles question. So, straight lines, A and BC are parallel. If we see that word, if we see that they're parallel, immediately we're going to be thinking of 3 key terms. Okay, we're going to be thinking co-interior. We're going to be thinking of sorry, my brain is completely gone. We're going to be thinking of co-interior. We're going to be thinking of corresponding and alternate. Okay, we've got parallel lines. Those are our 3 guys. We've also got a triangle here. Okay, so I've got a triangle as well that's going to be relevant potentially. Okay, there's also a quadrilateral in there, maybe. Okay, so all of these 5 kind of angle rules might be relevant for me. I've got these parallel lines, and I want to find this value x. Now, to find x, I can immediately see that I've got 30 there, and x is part of this big triangle here. Okay, part of that big triangle. Now that means all I need to find is this angle to be able to find x. Okay, so I can call that y if I want to, just to help me. So let's think about how I could find y. Now y sits within my parallel lines. Okay, so let's see. I've got a parallel line there. I've got a parallel line there. Okay, and I've got this bit that joins them. Now that looks a bit like a C. That is co-interior. Now co-interior add to 180. So that means that y plus 125 needs to equal 180. So y is equal to 55 degrees. Okay, and I need to say, because co-interior angles sum to 180 degrees, because I'm asked to give reasons for my answer, then I can say that 30 degrees, which is this angle here, x and y, and I've already found y, so plus 55 degrees, which is y, plus x equals 180 degrees. So x is going to be 180 minus 55 minus 30. 180 minus 55 minus 30 is 95 degrees. Okay, 95 degrees. And that is because angles in a triangle sum to 180. Okay, so angles in a triangle sum to 180 degrees. Once we've done that, we're sorted. Okay, got the answer, all 4 marks. Any questions, obviously let me know, but that is the run through for this week's exam pack.